If you are anything like me, you need to be sleeping better in 2026 so that you can actually accomplish all the goals that you want to accomplish. And trust me, even though I'm a doctor and I talk about sleep and the importance of sleep a lot on my channel, I am not immune to insomnia myself. And so in this video, I'm talking about the 6 toxic sleep habits that I'm working on ridding from my life once and for all right now. And this is part of the 6-week plan that I am proposing that we all do to get our health in check and improved before 2026, again, so that we can actually accomplish the goals that we have for ourselves, whether it's career or romance or travel or whatever the case may be. These are the 6 toxic habits that we're gonna go into today. If you're more concerned about one than the other, please just skip to it. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with number 1, and that is that I am going to stop obsessing about my sleep and stop using sleep trackers to fuel that obsession. There's an actual name for this. It's called orthosomnia, or the over preoccupation with healthy sleep. And my friends, this is how my insomnia started. I was an early medical resident in my intern year, and I started to think, shit, sleep is gonna be really, really important in my life. It's gonna be the glue that holds my mental health together. It's gonna be the foundation of everything. And my friend recommended a sleep tracker to me that I downloaded on my phone. And I started to put so much weight on what that stupid little sleep tracker said. If it said that I got poor quality sleep, like I was tossing and turning, or I didn't get as many hours as I actually thought that I did, I would feel like shit. Maybe even on days that I probably would have felt fine. I've just put way too much weight on this tracker. And I'm not alone in this, unfortunately. Orthosomnia is a well-established phenomenon, and there is science that shows that sleep trackers can worsen it. So I've sworn off sleep trackers long ago, and I often recommend to my patients, if you have any sort of tendency towards insomnia or even just anxiety around sleep, avoid them. What I am doing right now is focusing on just not obsessing over sleep in general. Like, obviously I've already sworn off the sleep trackers, but I'm really focusing on just letting it be, knowing that I'm not going to sleep perfectly every night. Like today I'm tired. I didn't sleep well last night, but that's just life. That's going to happen. And I'm going to get through those days after I didn't sleep well. Paradoxically, adopting that attitude instead of obsessing about sleep will make your sleep better. So I'm really working on that. The second toxic habit that I am ridding from my life is laying in bed awake, hoping sleep will come. This is actually a key principle in cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBT-I, which is the most effective therapeutic modality to help with insomnia, even more effective than medication. And so one of the key pillars of CBT-I is stimulus control. This is a behavioral technique that aims to reassociate your bed with sleep, not sleeplessness. So what they teach is that if you're lying in bed awake, if you haven't been able to fall asleep after 20 minutes, you should get up and do something else. Now, not go get up and do something super stimulating, work out or watch like TikTok for hours on end, but get up and do something that maybe is a little bit boring or relaxing, like watching a rerun of a show, reading, doing a meditation, etc. But the point is, you should be out of your bed. You should not be lying in bed awake for more than about 20 minutes. And for me personally, this is something that I've fought a lot, because in my brain, I try to convince myself, no, just give it 5 more minutes. If you get up, then you're just gonna delay your sleep even more. But truly, I'm telling myself I'm gonna stick to this right now, because there is evidence, there's scientific evidence that this actually does really help in the long term. Third toxic habit is cutting scrolling time before bed. Now, I say scrolling time, not necessarily screen time, because the evidence is a little bit mixed here. The traditional wisdom for years has been that if you look at a screen, it emits blue light, and this blue light is activating to the brain because it suppresses melatonin, which is the important sleep hormone. There's newer data that shows that actually when we are doing something really activating on our screen, like scrolling, it keeps our brain in this like reward loop where we're constantly looking for dopamine hits. And this is very activating for the brain. It's not gonna help it wind down. So instead, what I'm really working on right now is putting my phone away completely, stopping scrolling at least an hour minimum before bed, and using that time to actually just read. I don't think necessarily everyone has to read, because again, if you want to watch screens but maybe do something more relaxing, like a rerun of Friends or a show that you've watched a million times, there is some evidence that that's probably not that harmful, as long as it's something that is not activating. There's this concept of cognitive arousal, and that's what we want to reduce. Fourth toxic habit is going to bed at totally different times every night. You may have noticed this. I've for sure noticed this in my own life, where if I'm consistently going to bed and waking up at this roughly the same time every day, my sleep sleep is really good, I fall asleep faster, and I feel more refreshed. Like my sleep is higher quality. And there's evidence to support this. It's not just me and it's not just you. There is science that shows that with high variability in sleep time, your circadian rhythm just gets totally off. And with a disrupted circadian rhythm, you have an increased propensity towards anxiety, depression, insulin resistance, obesity, hypertension, and even cardiovascular events. And that's because with this disruption in circadian rhythm, you're much more likely to have systemic inflammation, imbalance of your autonomic nervous system, and impaired metabolic regulation. There's even one study that showed that with people with very irregular circadian rhythms, a lot of variability in their sleep timing, there is an increased risk for all-cause mortality. That's death from any cause. And yes, unfortunately, this does apply to social jet lag. So when you stay up later on weekends and sleep in later on weekends compared to the weekdays, that unfortunately does impact circadian rhythm. And so what I'm trying to do right now is not cut out all Friday or Saturday night out with friends, but just be more intentional about it. Maybe don't stay out as late and really not necessarily try to go to bed at 10:30, 6 p.m. every night, but try to keep it within about an hour window of my sleep time and my wake time. Number 5 is literally a toxic habit. We have to talk about alcohol. Now, we know that alcohol has a whole host of other concerns when it comes to health, but one thing is absolutely proven by the science: it really does affect sleep. Alcohol is associated with an increased sleep latency, meaning that you actually take longer to fall asleep. It's also associated with more fragmented sleep, less REM sleep, and more lighter phases of sleep throughout the night. So it's no wonder that when you have a few drinks, you wake up the next morning feeling sluggish and just not refreshed. Obviously, this is part of the hangover effect too, even though it doesn't explain everything. I have 100% noticed this in my own life. Anytime I drink more than maybe like a half a glass of wine, I feel it the next day, even if it's just slightly. So what I'm trying to do is just bring more intentionality to my drinking patterns. Again, this isn't necessarily about cutting alcohol out of my life completely. I don't want to do that, but I do want to significantly reduce it for the benefit of my sleep and just my general health. So that is something that I'm actively working on. And number 6, the last toxic habit that I'm working on is trying to be productive and working at night. I used to tell myself, because I'm naturally a little bit more of a night owl, that I should take advantage of the fact that I like to stay up a little bit later to do work late at night when everyone else is sleeping. But I have found time and time again that even if I'm just up working on a YouTube script or planning a trip or brainstorming ideas for a talk that I'm going to give, I cannot for the life of me go to bed after. Again, this isn't just me. There is plenty of science behind this. And if you've made it this far, you already have this concept down. This is, again, cognitive arousal. Your brain is not in wind down mode. It's in active mode. It's in executive planning mode. And that is horrible for sleep. So even though in the past I've convinced myself you're a night owl, you should take advantage of the night hours to work, I'm going to stop doing that. For the last 1 to 2 hours of my day before I go to sleep, I am committing to putting my phone away, putting my computer away, and doing things like taking a warm shower, reading, doing a meditation, just everything I can do to put my body and my brain in wind down mode. And speaking of warm shower, I actually wanted to end this video with talking about the things that I am going to introduce to try to improve my sleep. So it ends on a little bit more positive note, things that I'm actually going to start instead of just things that I'm going to stop doing. So the warm shower is one. The way this works is actually by cooling your core body temperature, because it dilates your blood vessels and brings more of the heat to the outside of the body, so your core body temperature lowers, and this is the state that your body really wants to be in for sleep. 2, I'm going to focus on exercise, but historically I've exercised in the evening, and although exercise is great for sleep, it's best done earlier in the day, especially because I like to do things like HIIT or high intensity interval training, and that actually really activates the body. It increases your cortisol, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but you don't want a cortisol elevation shortly before you go to sleep, again, because this is activating and it's going to interfere with sleep. And then the third thing that I recently started implementing, and plenty of studies have shown that this is effective, is starting to create a to-do list or even just a brain dump of things that I want to or need to do the next day, even random ideas that I have right before I go to bed. So then my brain knows, okay, this is on a paper. I don't have to be thinking about it. I don't have to be planning this and ruminating about this. It's down in my journal. I think that's all I have for you today. Let me know what was most interesting to you, what stood out to you the most, what's the toxic habit you need to work on the most maybe. I'll be posting updates on how these things are going, so if you want more, follow along. I'll be posting especially on shorts. And really, if you like this video, if you like this type of content, I would love to have you on my corner of the internet, so please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.